All right, everyone. Hello and good evening. How are we doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. It's not too bad. Weather was actually really nice today, so I did enjoy that. Got a little bit of sunshine coming in. How's everyone else
Good.
doing? Doing good. All right. Right. So for today, I'm going to discuss with you actually entrepreneurial mindset, what I'm going to do with you. I just have to let everyone at the same time right now. And a lot of time, I'm not going to be able to see the chat all the time. So if you guys will also come on mute on some of the questions that are asked, I would appreciate it. And if I don't see your comment in the chat, let me know. Let me know also. I'd appreciate it. What we're going to do. So I want to do something really quick with you to see where you're at in the aspect of mindset. When you hear mindset, period, what comes to mind for you guys? You can put words in the chat if you want or come off mute.
Your level of resilience.
Very much so. Yin Yin, what's a word that comes to mind for you?
Attitude.
Very much so. That plays a big thing on mindset, attitude. Very much. Very much so. Jayla?
Position, like I was gonna say like viewpoint or like standing point, like where somebody like stands in their opinion, kind of like, or
Right,
not
that helps.
where somebody stands in their opinion, but like when somebody like how they carry themselves based off of like what they believe or what they think.
Very much so. That plays into it too. What about you, Nadia? I see it. A state of mind, your acceptance of what happens around you. Very much so. That plays into it. We're going to talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset also, what we're going to discuss. Doing both at the same time with you guys for that. So what we're gonna do today too, you guys have Mentimeter at the end we're gonna do, and you guys are also gonna have the survey. So make sure you stay on to complete those at the end. For that, and one thing I want to do I want to use Kahoot, try Kahoot today. How many have used Kahoot? It's very similar to Mentimeter.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, what I want to do is go through some things. I want to do a Kahoot with you. So I'm going to share my screen for you guys to see the code. Put the code in, the PIN number. And we're going to do Kahoot together. You guys able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Things that you actually do, especially in life, and especially I want to work around some of the businesses that you guys have and some ideas in doing that. Some of these are going to wrap around of how your mindset is with your business and what are you doing and how do you have a fixed mindset? Do you have a growth mindset? How can we change some of that or just improve just a little bit? Can just be a small marker of things that we can be able to do. Some of the objectives that we're gonna have today and work with. We're gonna define, discuss some of what these terms mean and identify the entrepreneurial mindset. We're gonna look at the terms and what they are. We're gonna describe some elements of that assessment, the alignment assessment that you took before today. We're gonna discuss that and talk about the different type of behavior styles, which one is more geared to you and what you are. And this can change, but your ultimate base core one is what you operate out of mostly. There you have a natural one, and you have, as we call it, a gray area, an adaptive one. The adaptive is in when you're stressed. We're going to discuss that. We're going to give you some strategies and how to overcome them, aid in how to improving those, but understanding the entrepreneur mindset on top of what you know, especially to solving obstacles for us. We have different levels of growth. Once you think you've mastered one level of growth, you're going to have more things that come into mind. They're going to strengthen you. They're going to challenge you more to grow. So in that constant growing aspect of it is where we want to stay. We don't want to be dormant or comfortable. Comfortable in sometimes until we get the hang of things. A lot of times in the process is the things that we do. But we always want to push ourselves to grow just a little bit and not always live. We want to live in the uncomfortable zone a lot, not so much our comfort zone, because we get too stagnant in it and then we let fear sometimes seep in where we don't want to try something new. And then we're going to look at the cognition of an entrepreneur and how that doorway to understanding the entrepreneur mindset motivation, what we're going to do today. And the who are you? I want you just go around, each of you go around, tell me one thing, who are you in your business? What do you see yourself as in the businesses that you are working on based on the classes? Because you guys have been able to grow a little bit since fundamentals, since hospitality and travel. Now you're in advanced. How have you grown? One thing have you grown since the beginning to now?
Taking criticism better.
That's a good one, especially taking in that constructive criticism.
Confidence,
Oh,
being
that's good.
confident enough to advertise or like walk up to other people and tell them about my business.
Okay. And that's going to be an ongoing thing. As you grow and get more comfortable in that, I'm glad you said the confident aspect of it. You actually will talk more about it more freely and more, it's going to come so seamless, so carefree when you talk about that and learning how to do it more in different spaces, especially some of the classes we're going to have to continue developing that. Thank you. Who else?
I learned how to budget.
Okay. Did you start your budget?
Yes, I did.
Okay. How are you doing with it?
It's going okay. I'm not finished yet, but we'll get there.
And it, like I like how you said that. It's not finished yet, but you'll get there. I see Nadia, you have plan ahead and don't be ashamed, even if your business is tiny now. So very true. We all start, business all start at one point, your starting part. And the biggest thing is not to compare yourselves actually with that too. Very good. Who else?
I
I
also
would
learned
say,
oh, you can go.
okay. I would say balance, like balance your life.
Okay. How are you balancing your life more?
I would say your personal life and your work life.
How are you balancing it?
By knowing not not having my work as a priority than my own life.
That's fair. And as sometimes as adults, that takes over when it comes to when you're having more bills and things. Yes, you stay on the move, Julian. I will say you do. Looking at some of those. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Janelle.
I would say learning how to incorporate some ideas into others, like the previous person said about budgeting. Like for our cooking class, I learned how to you can budget the prices of certain products that you're using to make the dish based off what you want.
Very true. And especially when it comes to having certain type of things you can and can't have, your dietary restrictions, you have to try. And that's funny, trying to even trying different flours, you have to learn the consistency between that. Very true for that. Angie, are you the one left?
Yeah, I learned how to advertise a business and everything about a credit card. I was able to open my own today.
Okay, congratulations. See,
Thank
mile
you.
marker. You got it for your first credit card?
Yes, because I'll be 18 soon.
Okay, congratulations. How did that feel doing that part?
It made me feel a lot more grown. I was just like, dang, like I'm finally starting to build up my own credit.
Yes, and budgeting that card is very good in building that credit. Usually paying it off in that first 30 days, you won't be charged interest based on your balance. So great. Congratulations, Angie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Think all you guys have. And Noah, what about you, Noah?
I learned a lot about like understanding my clientele to fully no, I learned that I have to fully understand my clientele in order to have a successful business.
Okay. Choose your target audience, who you want to see, who you want to target to. Very true. Who did you find out your clientele is yet? Did you narrow it down?
I narrowed it down to more like younger people, like people not like people my age and like early 20s ish.
Okay. And more will come when you start selling your product, more things you're doing. It'll narrow down more and it'll let you know if you're in the area where you're supposed to be based on your numbers. Okay. All right. You guys got some progress. I'm glad. Want to see where you're at and how you're progressing through the program and what you're doing. So with the entrepreneur mindset, it is a key. We have to unlock different things. So it's a lot of times we have the potential and power within inside us that we have to unlock because we block it ourselves. And I love doing mindset. It is a combination of some of the things that was spoken about, your beliefs and what you think. So your beliefs, your attitudes, your behaviors, it does drive you to success and to achieve your goals and your milestones. So what is the definition of success to you?
Accomplishing my goal or a step to my goal.
True. Okay. Accomplishing those goals, achieving them.
I would say positive impact.
Mm-hmm. And that's a biggie. Trying to keep, especially when it feels like the world is crumbling down and you're in the middle of a storm, having that positive mindset or that positivity, trying to impact it, it makes a big difference because it can be a challenge sometimes. I mean, even for me, one thing that I see is a constant, like I was saying earlier, a constant growth out of my comfort zone. Even as adults, we have things that we're uncomfortable with, and we still have to push ourselves. So having that positivity, very much, agree with that completely. So when we're defining what the entrepreneurial mindset is, it is a unique because each of us are different. We all have our different values and we have our traits and behaviors. And I say our gifts because our gifts is what push us. Our gifts is what drives us to actually find what our passion is, as some of the things that you have identified in your businesses. There can be some part of the business that you may like more doing than the others. For instance, maybe front end or socializing with people, or you like the back end part, as I say, doing reports, doing the details, doing accounting. It depends where you would like, because it's all business, but what part of it that pushes you. Entrepreneurs like to see opportunity where where others see problems. It's where you focus at. They'll see when something comes up, let's say there's a customer complaint. And would you focus more on resolving that customer complaint or focus on listening over and over to the complaint? What would you focus more on?
Wait, can you repeat that one more time? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, fine. Where would you focus more on if there was a customer complaint? Hearing that complaint over and over again, or are you going to focus more on resolving?
Resolving it.
Right. And in resolving it, where do you see that as an opportunity? In resolving, let's say the customer complaint.
Providing like a product or a service to fix it.
Mm-hmm. And what could that look like? And you do it based on your business. Like if you had a customer complaint in your business, what would that look like if you trying to resolve that opportunity that lies?
You can contact the customer, or you could tell them, like, you could apologize for the inconvenience and invite them to come back to fix whatever complication happened. So say for instance, if it's at like a store, you could tell them to come back, you could replace the item. Or if they're getting their hair done, you could tell them to come back and you'll give them like a free hairstyle or a discounted hairstyle, like a half off of a hairstyle. So it really just depends on what your business is, but it would just look like you basically trying to do whatever the customer wants to be happy.
Very much so. Very good. Very good. Thank you. And it is, you're right. It depends on your business, but around that same skeleton outline. of offering a service, offering something to make it better, to have that customer satisfaction, because you value the customer, you value them coming back, but you also value in the part of accountability and taking ownership of what may I do for you to try to resolve what is going on, and listening, that caring aspect and that servant leadership that actually builds into the entrepreneurial mindset. And you keep yourself constantly learning and adapting to the new challenges, because every customer complaint, I'll use that, is a different challenge, because every complaint is not the same. And one big thing, and I say fear sets in a lot of times, and that's how we have to look into the root of ourselves a lot of times too, is don't be afraid to take risk. Some may decide to make decisions longer than others. Some are more swift to make them, but don't let that hold you back, because usually it's fear itself, fear of failure, but also there's also that fear of success is what I see a lot of times when working with different clients and even students, because they're learned. You have to unlearn a lot of things that we're taught. And it does come into your values, beliefs, your environment that you're in. Some people maybe just been in a lot of negative environments, or you don't have any positive part of it, or they're just speaking. It's like they loom around like a rain cloud all the time. It's like, do you see any positivity in the world sometimes? And I'm sure you might have encountered some people, or maybe some of your peers. It just seems like they're never happy a lot of times. When you encounter someone that's feeling like they're never happy, how do you how do you adjust to that? How do you take an opportunity out of that? When they're always negative that you hear. Where's the opportunity at if someone's coming up to you always negative?
I would say since they're always negative and they're not gonna be happy whatever you do, I would just say do what's best for your business at that point since if they're always gonna be unhappy, then you might as well do the option that's best for you and them, but still benefits your business.
Very true. And I like how you said for them and you, because never forget about you and your mental health and what you need to have peace in that time, because those are things I'd say that you really, especially time, you really cannot get time back. So organizing that mindset and pulling things out, because sometimes people do need that time to vent. I mean, are they venting, or are they just constantly complaining? And you do have to orientate your mindset to what it is. How am I going to adapt to this challenge now? Well, how can I adapt to that situation? Because in entrepreneurship, especially when doing things on your own, or you have a smaller team in doing so, you have to adapt. You have to adapt a lot more, especially being that flexibility and patience are two actually big things that come a lot into that when we're doing our thinking, when we're doing our day-to-day problems. And I like to say opportunities. And for me, when it comes in, as we speak about the cognition of it, it's our mental process of us thinking, us learning, and understanding. So a very, a very well mind, it'll say that it includes your conscious and your subconscious minds, your processes and what you do, the different ways that we're thinking and processing our information. So entrepreneurs, they're going to be, sometimes they'll be more, they're usually more innovative. Some people are straight problem solvers. They're just fixing a lot of times. So it's how you involve it and how you perceive a lot of times. The cognition is just like I said, it's your mental process of thinking and learning. How do you do it and how do you understand more of? So when you're involved in the thinking and the perceiving, and the other part is reasoning. Reasoning can go along with negotiating when you're talking about your prices, when you're talking about what can I do better, or taking that constructive criticism part of it. So it's paying attention to something in the environment around you, learning something new, making the new decisions, and your processes in what you do. Processing language, sometimes there's language barriers. We're around other languages, and maybe we have to learn a new language, depending where we're establishing our business at, or who, like we said, our target audience. You have your age span, but you all have your different cultural span you have to take into account too on what you're doing. So, and then sensing and perceiving that in your environment's stimuli, do you get overly stimulated, or it's just overwhelmed sometimes in big crowds, or do you prefer smaller crowds? All that comes into your thinking and solving that problems and using your memory on also. When it comes into the aspect of the memory aspect of it, it's like where they're housed at, and that's where we're gonna go into more of the conscious and subconscious processes and thinking is like where does that lie at and where do you lie at a lot of times? And usually that's found in where you're usually more comfortable at. Now, in the beginning, I did Kahoot with you, and it was giving some ideas of fixed mindset and growth mindset, what we use, and what's the difference between. So, as we did on some of them, tell me your interpretation of a fixed mindset.
Stays like a person who's like stays in the present and doesn't really grow from challenges that they had.
You're breaking up just a little bit. I heard that you're staying in the present, Julian. Can you please
Oh,
repeat?
oh, sorry. A
No
person,
problem.
a fixed mindset is a person who's like staying in the past and not really growing from challenges that they had, or not just staying in a negative emotion, negative state.
Could be. Yep. Very true. Other interpretations.
I would say it's also a person who doesn't consider other perspectives and like kind of sees feedback as like an attack rather than something that can help them grow.
Very true. And I like how you used some keywords in that feedback as an attack when it does come in that constructive criticism. Because it's all into, you guys have this too, of how you say things and the tone. But a lot of it lies in the receiver and them perceiving what are they hearing. Because sometimes with our brain and our mind, for instance, we may think we have something free, but the word that's printed in black and white would say fee, but our mind is saying free. And that comes in with our feelings. We attach feelings to words a lot of times, and that's where some of the limitation of the fixed mindset comes in too. So your fixed beliefs on your ability, and something Coach TJ said yesterday that he worked with you in class is if you think you can, you can. If you think you can, you can. That actually goes right along with it and changing. So your mind can hinder you, and it'll hinder you not in just your personal aspect of your life, but also in your work because they do bleed over into two. They both intertwine in what you're doing. As I said too, that fear of failure. What does fear of failure look like to you? What is it in your perception that you see, especially when it comes with doing businesses and embarking on entrepreneurship? What is fear of failure to you?
Not accomplishing the step to my goal, or like not not being able to achieve something I wanted to achieve.
So like you have high standards for yourself.
Yeah, like if like not even if I said I was gonna do something and I don't do it, and then I kind of like ruin something else, then that's like what I'm scared of not achieving.
Okay. Thank you. Who else?
I would
I
say
know we all have fear of something. Go ahead.
I would say it's also like taking shortcuts because they have a fear of failure. They don't want to work so hard because they know the harder they work, the more it'll hurt if they fail. So they'd rather take shortcuts that could sort of promise success, but in the end it doesn't. And that's why they have such a high fear of failure because they don't want to work as hard.
I could see that. Working hard. What else is a fear?
I think
Yes.
a fear for some people can be picking the wrong thing and maybe let's say failing if you like two things and you decide on one and then you realize maybe in the long term it wasn't the right decision or you kind of look back and you're like, oh, I wish I did the other thing. I think that stops a lot of people just because they're scared of wasting their time, their energy.
Very much so. Wasting time. I'm glad you said that too. Is failure necessary?
Yes.
Okay, how?
I think it's necessary because it's just like sorry, I'm like bad at putting it into words.
Yeah, do your best. It's okay.
Um, Because it's just like in order to sorry. It's like sorry, I don't know how to explain it well, but like you need to fail in order to improve in yourself. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does, yes. To
I would
improve in
say
yourself. Go
I
ahead,
would
Nadia.
say you need to fail to gain some experience and to get some knowledge so you don't fail next time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
maybe it's also develop your strength, your mindset.
True. It does help each strength. I look at failure, first attempt in learning. You don't know if something works if you never try. So that how I see failure, I see it in that first attempt at learning, but I also see it as how do you know if you do something if you never even put your foot past that starting line? If you don't even push yourself to even see maybe that what I'm thinking or that fear, that outcome, like I said, a lot of times is fear of success or fear of doing something. If you don't even push yourself to even do it, how do you know it's even going to work? A lot of times it comes out better than you thought. I mean, there are times where it came out how you thought it was going to come out because you know, especially on some things, you do stuff last minute, you're not prepared for it. And sometimes you can over prepare for things because that's when your nerves, your anxiety gets in. I mean, I can maybe how some of you prepared for your end of course assignments that you had, your end of course projects, that public speaking. Some of you were nervous, some of you are nervous about that, but you knew that information because it was your passion that was coming through when you were speaking to us about your businesses. But that fear of like maybe I'm gonna say the wrong thing, I might forget what I'm gonna say, but it's that bouncing back and that resilience, the word we had in the beginning of how you're adapting and bouncing back from those. A lot of times in that fixed mindset, avoiding the challenge, very as well said earlier, is when you're basically avoiding it because you're afraid of not doing. You're gonna settle for it's okay right now. A lot of times you hear, don't fix what's not broken, but there are ways to improve what's not broken, especially in efficiency. So if I'm a solopreneur and I'm doing everything by myself, it's working, I'm succeeding, but how much better can it be if I had a team to help me? It would take some impact off of myself, but it also would actually help the business run more. I could probably get more revenue coming in. I could have other things. Time is alleviated on those. So it's seeing where you tend to be at because we all have this, we all have a fixed mindset here or there. And it's on our learning. And I stress the fear. I like to say the fear of success because I don't always see it as failure. It's just success that I like to see it as where I keep my mindset at. But there are times where I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I have to say it's going to work the best I can. When you make decisions, especially decision making, believe decision you made in that moment is the best decision and choice in that moment you did because you can always change it. If you can't change the decision, I don't like using can't, but sometimes there is no workaround about it. I say a lot of times when you're doing things, don't take no for the answer the first time around because maybe the first person you encounter does not have that much knowledge to answer the question. They're only telling you what they know. When you're given the word no and you're told no, what are some things that you can do? Especially when it's something for you to progress in think about your business for a moment. What you're trying to do, what you're trying to build, or continue building, because some of you are already doing some things right now on your own. What can you do if you're told no? What saves the product that you need? Or what are you going to take no? You went to a company and they have the product that you need, and you know they have it and it's in stock, but that person at the counter is telling you we don't have it. How do you address that?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Mm-hmm. Taking the word, you're hearing your first answer is no. There's someone at the counter telling you no. You know the store has the product, but the person at the counter is not familiar with the inventory. How are you going to go about not taking no for the first time?
What I personally would do is I would try and go find well first I would tell them thank you for trying to help me, and then I think I would try and go find somebody that I either seen working there for a longer amount of time, or try and go find a higher up or somebody around that section where the stuff is, or that would know where it is. Because I mean, they're new, so they wouldn't know. And then I probably after like and nicely correct them and be like, yeah, so they did have it and it actually was over here, just so they know next time for further for further instances.
Right. And I liked how you said you apologize, not apologize, you thanked. Thanks for helping that, and you did do that. I actually had an incident. I went in a store and I was looking, actually I needed pipe cleaners. And they told me, no, we don't carry these. So I went back and looked in the store myself to see if they have any. Because it's not something I guess common. And they were, again, they had been there for a while, but they didn't know what all their merchandise was. And I did what you said. I went back and said, that you do have them. It's in aisle 6, just for future reference if someone else comes in there. And they did thank me for that. And it all depends on too how you're approached. But I will stress and say, no matter how rude someone is, always try to keep your composure and your kindness with it when you're actually responding back. Because that's one thing, how we say the impact on learning and having that open mind. So that negative impact of learning, it discourages individuals from taking risk and seeking new experiences. So a lot of times, even in a store, they're just there for the job. They're just doing the job, and they won't put any more effort into it. And to me, I see that as a fixed mindset too. In that aspect, they may have their reasons, of course, but that's the mindset of not trying to grow and more learn on what they're doing and take advantage. Take advantage of every opportunity you have. That's that part of the growth mindset. But what I'd like to do, I'm gonna put you in breakout groups. And I want you to give 2 statements related to your business idea right now. That is a fixed statement. Something that you may have right now in your business, what you're thinking. We don't have to stay in a fixed mindset, but what are you having one right now? It could be some of the things that we just talked about. And that's the fear of failure, fear of success, you're avoiding challenges. What are 2 statements that you can write related to your business and talk among each other too while you're in the groups that you can write down now? And we're going to do something with it later, but I need you to do that now when I put you in your breakout groups. Second. All right, so what statements did we come up with? Fixed mindsets. And I say fixed mindsets are temporary, how I like to say. So what temporary fixed mindsets do we have, everybody?
For mine, I said that I didn't want to go more online, or I didn't want to expand to like other hair types.
Okay. And you're focusing on natural, correct, Janelle?
Yeah.
How would that be fixed though, if that's your niche you're focusing down on? Help me understand.
Because if I wanted to get a bigger customer base and I wanted to shift from doing just textured hair to providing hair care for various different types of people, that would be a fixed mindset if I didn't want to learn about other hair textures.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand now. Thank you. One thing too that I liked when I went to a different salon, I know some of you want to do salons in that aspect too, are classes, especially when you're saying the different hair types, is how to take care, what you should eat, what nutrition. So those, I don't see that often, or even just one of them, I actually suggested her put her products in her store where she'll have hair and other things where she can, have that passive income on products too. So yes, thank you. I understand. Now more on that mixed mindset. All right. Who's next?
Could I go?
Yes, ma'am.
Since I want to do real estate, mine's is definitely not being able to get enough clients and the business going down.
I could see that, especially networking. If you're used to someone else, as I say, with different behavior styles, opening up that door for you, and then you're fine once you're introduced. I do know in real estate, there's always going to be real estate. There's always going to be someone around. Are you more, help me, are you more on the realtor aspect of it? Help me on the real, I know it's real estate, but help me what you're going to specialize in, please.
Yeah, the realtor.
The realtor? Not a problem. Not a problem. I got you. Not a problem. And that you have to be forefront. You have to have that energy. You have to be up and you have to be a very ambitious go-getter and there's different levels of where you want to be in that too. Okay. All right, who's next? What's one of your statements regarding your business?
I'd say that I'm not gonna have enough employees or no one would like to come and visit it because it's like too much or maybe like people would not want to spend that much money on my products and I'm not gonna be able to advertise my business.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Those are fair things to have when you first coming out. And even while you're doing it, especially when you change product carriers or you try to be outside the box and do something different. Those are valid. All right, one more sentence.
I was gonna say for mine because it's gonna be trend IQ, which is kind of like consumer feedback for different businesses. One thing is people might not necessarily like the idea, or it might be hard to find people to code the programs that you're going to need to track the online phrases, hashtags, like sentiments, to then translate them back into like feedback for those businesses.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. All right. There's always someone that can resolve that problem, especially when it comes to coding. But I do like that what you're saying, that mindset, because and that also goes in finding the right person, the person that's going to be dependable, who's going to actually give me what I want, understand, and is it a good working relationship? So those are some other things too. Very good, very good. So the opposite that we have with the fixed mindset, okay, is obviously the growth mindset. Let me share my screen again with you guys. All right, you guys seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so the power of the growth mindset, as we talked before, it can push you, it can motivate you. It develops a lot of it. How much effort are you going to put into it? And your persistence and what you're learning. I liked how you said if Janelle, when you're talking about if you don't open yourself up to continue learning. Very, very true. So that the mindset, it fosters, as we said, that resilience, you being flexible, the willingness, your open mind, and how you embrace some of those new experiences that you're going to have, and especially as we say, your setbacks. To me, sometimes it's just not it's not the correct solution for the issue or opportunity you are having right now. So with those two fixed statements that you have, transpose those into a growth mindset statement. How can you make it more powerful? And I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to do so, or you can come off mute. What would you like to do? Helena, I don't know if you're just staying unmuted or were you going to speak?
I was gonna speak, but I think I'll take a minute or two just to think a little bit more about it.
Go right ahead.
You have to repeat the question.
Yes, when they made their two fixed mindset statements of going to their business and some they just discussed, I'm telling them take those statements and making them growth mindset statements.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Does it make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right. Okay, now that you guys had a chance to take your fixed mindset statements and make them growth mindset statements, what are some that you rearranged, you adapted? What are some of your growth mindset statements?
Okay, so I was thinking, I said that my fixed mindset is I'm not going to be able to advertise my business and I'm not going to have enough clients to support my business. So I think I can get more confidence and believe in myself. And also, I would say to tell my parents, my family, my relatives to come and see, and maybe that way I can get my target audience.
Those are options, yes, to be able to do so, yes. So your fixed mindset saying you don't think you're going to get enough customers, and the way you're transposing it into the growth mindset, I can utilize my family and friends to help with getting more clients and supporting and encouraging me. Is that fair to say, Nadia?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I
gotcha.
was.
All right. Who else?
I said that I can work on building my confidence. That way I can advertise my business better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And how are you going to work on your confidence? We got to narrow that down a little more specific. What are you going to do to work on your confidence?
I can practice advertising like on my family, on my friends. That way when I do advertise to people like that I don't know, it'll be easier and I know what to say and I have a clearer I don't know how to explain it. But
Understanding what you
yeah,
say.
clear understanding of what I'm saying.
Not a problem. Did good. It makes sense, and that's very true. Because sometimes your family a lot more is unfiltered, so there will be more brutal and honesty and telling what you need to do. That's not going to work. You know, it has its pros in that aspect of you to push you. But a lot of times, what I say when while we're making our statements and having our fixed ones, is be cognizant of what you allow in. You know, if it's coming from, and what I mean by that is your source of your feedback. Is it from somebody that supports you, that will, they're going to be positive, but they're going to be straightforward with you. They're going to tell you pros and cons. They're going to encourage you, but they're not going to always tell you what you want to hear. Aspect. All right, one more statement. Who else has another statement, growth statement?
For mine, my growth statement was being okay, like with maybe rejection or things not working out, and being able to move on and find something that fits my business plan more. So, for example, if someone doesn't see the purpose of my business, then going and pitching to someone who might be more open to it and has an experience that matches mine. So they're like, oh, okay, I see the impact.
Very true. And someone with experience that can match yours, or who even someone who has more experience than you too. That actually it's going to give you a different viewpoint, a different perspective. So someone who has more experience can tell you things that they've run into to help give you some pointers, and someone where I like how you're saying, you know, where you're at. So that does encompass some camaraderie in a sense of it, saying we're in this together, we're experiencing it. And I think the one thing when it comes with fixed and growth mindset, which we do a lot of times, is the comparison. You know, stop comparing yourself to others because we're walking in our own walks. But I think the part of when it comes to our own accountability is like when we know we're not giving 110%, we know where we're setting back or we're procrastinating, that part comes into that. But I mean, and the part of what are your intentions, and keep your intentions straightforward and moving. You know what you're doing when you're comparing. If you know that you operate a certain way and you're just not operating to your full capacity right now, then you know, yes, take your own accountability for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, and one thing I want to go over, have you guys heard of subconscious and conscious mindsets? By show of hands or nodding heads, have you guys heard these terms before? Okay. All right. I see a hand. I see some have. I see some have not. Okay. And I'm not going to go too deep in it. I'm just going to do a surface for to give an idea how, again, with the mind and how it goes into the mindset aspect of influencing you. Let me know if you see my screen.
We
All
can
right.
see your screen.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, when we're looking at how the influence of just subconscious mind, remember our prefixes, you know, sub means under. So this is the part of your mind. It holds a lot as your reservoir, as it says, of your beliefs, your experiences, and your memories. Basically, think of it, this is like under your skin, inside you that you may not let everyone see. So in that part of it with the subconscious mind, it stores your memory and your knowledge that you can retrieve, but it's not necessarily always focused on the moment right now. It's in charge of our recent memory. So in a sense, sometimes short-term memory. As we use our senses, you know, with our eyes, everything that's coming into us, it's processed so fast of what we're taking in the external stimuli that we have. So it's in charge of, like I said, our recent memories, but it's always in contact with your unconscious mindset that you have. So when you have your subconscious, It takes a little bit more than it took to convince it about the changes that you're trying to make and what you're trying to propose. And we're going to go into the next ones about that part of the unconscious or subconscious that we say you have to convince it more. So that means it won't change until you keep repeating something, how we make our habits, whether it's a good habit or it's a not so great habit, what we had to do. So for example, if you're going to go to the grocery store and you need ingredients for a recipe, now, when you get distracted when you're driving, going to the store, everything is coming in, different minds, different thoughts are coming in. So the subconscious mind is going to focus on getting you home because that is the thing what it wants to do. So you made a habit and you repeat it. You know your way home multiple ways. So repeating it while your conscious mind is going to be focused on what you need, what ingredients that you need right down. So you see how they have their own, I would say, lanes that they focus on. You don't have to say, how do I get home? I get home because maybe you've lived in the same place for years right now and you already know how. So it's going to be kind of like automatic muscle memory as we say, because your brain is a muscle and you do have to exercise that more and more, honestly. And you really don't understand how much you use that brain until rewiring it again. You have to learn everything again. It's a reboot. And that's what happens with some of the things that we have to unlearn a lot of times. It's been us since we were toddlers, even babies is what we're taking in, and we have to do different, and how we have to take those different chances and different choices that we have, because our values of our parents may not be our same values we have ourselves, or beliefs, because as we grow and we take in more knowledge, we have more experiences, they're not going to be the same as our parents or people around us. So think about that too when you're taking in and how it's shaping, especially your problem solving. Some of you are great problem solvers. Sometimes you go straight into problem solving and you're not listening sometimes when someone just needs you to listen. But I love the problem solving aspect when it comes into that innovation and your approach to it. Your decision making comes in it too with the subconscious mind also. Of course, the opposite of it is your conscious mind. But to tap into the conscious mind, these are not in how it has in the triangle. It doesn't mean, it's just showing the different ones. It doesn't mean some are based more on it. There's more emphasis on the different parts of the pyramid. It's a part of the brain that's responsible for your thoughts and your feelings and our actions. And we feel more than anything a lot of times. Like I said, we put feelings to our words. So it's a part of the brain that keeps you most aware. It communicates to the world outside through our inner self. So through speech, through pictures, through writing, your physical movements and your thoughts, they come together to form your conscious mind. And that's constantly changing. So think about how your day is not always the same. As we say, sometimes a wrench was thrown into our day. You have some routines that you do, but sometimes that self-awareness change sometimes with your strengths. Some of your strengths get stronger. But it's knowing yourself and your strengths. That big self-awareness is a big piece. Especially how you look yourself inside out. I like your milestones, how I was saying with the goal setting. I like saying milestones because once you have a goal, you always have another goal. A mindset aspect that some look at is I met the goal and it's black and white. I didn't meet it or I didn't meet it. But what about how far did you get close to it? Farther than you have become before, especially when you do something more than once. Same with your decision making that you have. So your deliberate choices. Sometimes we sit on the fence. Should I not do it? Is this a good decision? Is it not? What are the pros? What are the cons? Sometimes we have such a longer list of those cons than we do the pros, because what sets in, you guys, when we have those cons? What sets in that we talked about in that fixed mindset?
Like
Fear.
doubt and like failure.
Yes, exactly. Fear. Fear sets in. That alters us to stay on that one side of the fence. And sometimes we put ourselves in, I would say, mind cells. That door is unlocked. We just don't push the door and walk out of it. We put ourselves in our own cages at times. And that's how I see the action taking aspect is take the step to go achieve that. Open the door, if anything, open that door for that opportunity. So it's choosing your energy on your positive thoughts that you have and your actions, but also create the more positive product, what you want to do, and the mindset. Because you're going to have a lot of pushback. Like you guys are speaking about people you have in your life, people who you want to have around you. I want you to use that as resilience and what you do. So right now, I like this picture of this iceberg because it shows how much is underneath, especially when it comes into your feelings and your values and your habits and patterns with the subconscious. Because it lies so deep and we don't always let people in to this. We keep the mask on it because of like we said a lot of times, that fear, or we don't want people to really see our true self, or we're fear of getting hurt a lot of times. We may feel we're not enough. We might not be perfect. Or sometimes of cultural paradigms, as it said, paradigms or mindsets, as that's that word means if you didn't know. Your imagination that you have. A lot of times when we get tunnel vision, we lose our imagination because we say, well, society says we should do this, or everyone else is doing this and it's working. Stay true to who you are, the gifts that you have. And that subconscious mind is going to follow you. How it shows just the tip of the iceberg with the conscious mind is what was people see on the outside. You may think something, but your actions will show what you're thinking. A lot of times, especially if you're nervous or you're pacing in that aspect, what I mean, you can pace and someone's going to pick up, or they might be nervous, or some people pace when they're mad. But it all goes to with your willpower, your behavior, and your goals and your decisions on that part of it. Are there any questions between the two? Because I'm not going to go real deep. Just want to give you guys a brief overview of the two and give you that visual what lies more, especially in your feelings aspect of it, because it does build a lot how we add feelings to words a lot of times. Are there any questions on that? Any comments? I see no's. I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a 5-minute break and come back in 5 minutes and then we're gonna continue. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed your short break that you had. Now, hope you're able to see my screen. See my screen right now. Now, we've been talking about different characteristics of entrepreneur thinking and what it looks like. So we talked about a lot the problem solving, how innovative you can be, how you develop your solutions, the communication, how you can effectively do that. But I think understanding comes in. A lot of people say they want to communicate, but it comes with understanding and comprehension, especially on the receiver. It tells you how to act and how others act, resilience. How do we bounce back for some of the challenges, and I like to say opportunities that are available to us? How do we demonstrate that? And being an entrepreneur, that is something necessary to develop. Bouncing back. Don't sit there too long when things didn't go the way you anticipated, you envisioned, or feel time was wasted. As I said, if you didn't do it, you wouldn't know what worked and what to me did not work for that opportunity, for that solution. And your adaptability, that flexibility, it comes with in your different environments. And this leads to some of the assessment you guys, the alignment assessment that you took, the 4 different behavior styles that there are. There's analytical, as we see, that conscientious aspect. They love numbers. They're very, very, very detail oriented, very structured, and they're logical in what they're doing. And they like clarity. Is this accurate? Is this right? They like to do things just one time. Another one is expressive. These are like our interactive ones. I like being social. And this is something with what you want for it to be as a realtor that we talked about. You're very enthusiastic, you're emotional, you like things to be positive all the time. You don't really care for a negative environment. You don't care for, like I would say, like a boring party. If it's boring coming in, you want to liven it up, or if it's too quiet. They love to talk and they love to keep moving. And they value being able to be creative. They don't like to be bound so much where everything is structured or a monotonous routine. The ones that like to do it. And some of these you may see how they may relate to you and pick what you think it could be. The steady is basically you like the processes, you're friendly, you love working with people, you seek harmony and collaboration a lot of time. Anything that has to do with people, you love doing because you get joy out of helping people and being that loyal person. Then you have the driver. The drivers are very assertive, very straightforward. It seems a lot of times they don't have an emotion aspect to it. They take the emotions out and the results driven. They just want to focus on how do we fix it? What do we do? And they love a faster pace and efficiency in action. What can we do next? What is it that, let's not keep talking about this. Let's move on that. A lot of times with the analytical, they are a thinker. They think a lot and sometimes overthink, and they get paralysis of analysis a lot of times. So they need that details and structure and the schedule. They live, and I would like to say die by the schedule. There's not much flexibility in it. If something changes, it wreaks havoc a lot of times. Then when you look at, I would say, the expressive or the interactive, it's like, who else is doing it? Like I said, they talk fast paced, they have fun and group projects, and the steady aspect, again, it's like, may I take notes? What else can I do? They listen a lot more than they talk. Go ahead, Ashley, you have a question?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask if those behavioral styles was supposed to come up at the end of the quiz, or I don't know.
You mean after you took the alignment
Yeah.
assessment, understanding? Yes, and if you didn't, let me know, and I can also send it to you. And that's what comes with that one-on-one, the link that was at the bottom to do a one-on-one with me, and then I go in more detail with you also. We're going to talk about more of that
Oh, okay.
at the end. So that's why the one-on-one link was there. So to schedule that 15
Oh,
minutes
okay, yeah, because
with
I
me
didn't
too.
see the link, and I also didn't see the like the style. So
Oh, not a problem. I
okay,
can make sure you guys are going to have a copy of it too.
okay, thank you.
And we're gonna discuss more of that too, towards the latter part. We're gonna talk about that too. So thank
Okay,
you. I'll make
thank
sure.
you.
Make sure when you look in your email, see if you see that link it should be at the bottom, I think. It should be at the bottom of the email that was sent that had both links in it. If you don't
Okay,
see it, let me know.
okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. And like for the steady person too, they listen more than anything. They're very quiet at times too. They love supporting, they love teaching, and they like one-on-one learning. They don't like a lot of big crowds. And again, for the driver, it's like, what's in it for me? They have that thought process. They're a racer and they're very, very, very competitive. They want to win all the time, and they love that fast pace, but they do a lot of independent learning. A lot of times that also. So in a brief aspect, basically it's people problems, pace, and procedures are the four. And I'm gonna go over that in just a little bit more detail with you guys too. But when I put out there the different type of four there are. But looking how these play into overcoming some of the obstacles and the fix and the growth mindset that we talked about um previously, it's how you deal with that feel of failure. When I said paralysis of analysis and overthinking, that's for my analyticals a lot of time. But sometimes it can be with a lot of all four of those behavior styles or with ourselves, because these are individualized and it shifts. It depends if you're doing it naturally, who you naturally are, and what you're doing versus you're adapting. And what I mean adapting aspect is sometimes when the greatest example I can give you is when your parents are there, you act one way, and then when your parents are gone, you act in one way. Basically, you know what you should be doing, but then you have when they're not around. So that's one aspect. Or if you go into a formal event, how you dress, you act differently. Your posture is different when it's a formal event. Your dress does versus a more casual and laid back. To give you a better idea of the two. The lack of support that you might have when we face those challenges, it's starting right now too, and it looks at as Professor JR said, your network is your net worth. Who was around you that is being positive? Who is advising you? Do you have any mentors? I remember Coach TJ asked about who is your mentor? Who was around you? What advisors or peers that can offer those guidance? And he was correct. Even as S.O.A.R and all the instructors are here for you guys to succeed and to move you. So I think the part is when you may not have those limiting resources, sometimes things are right in front of us that we don't use. Or the other part is we have too many tools and we're trying to gather so much information and knowledge, we don't know how to use the tools that we have in front of us. And so we do have to be creative. I love bartering, especially when I've done that with other entrepreneurs when beginning, is like what their service does and what mine does. Can we just exchange till we can get both what we really need? It helps us on both ends of that. Sometimes what we want to do a lot of times. For instance, I know in beginning to share an office, we're trying to cut costs, as we say, that comes into your budget and your business plan aspect of it. Sharing an office with somebody and splitting the cost, you both benefit, and then you both actually can network with each other's clients. Like who, even though it can be hair care, that word of mouth is a resource for you. They'll see what you do. They may look at your sign and then they'll inquire, hey, what do you do? Oh, I know somebody that might be able to use that. So take some of the resources that may be limited and take it for an advantage to you. And the talent. The talent, like I said, we all have our own gifts that we have and that we bring along to the world, because there's only one of us, and that what makes us unique, for us to prosper and flourish in our gifts and what we see. So the strategies, like we said, embrace those challenges, that continuous learning. What is one continuous learning aspect that you can do in your business that you feel that will be nonstop, that you're going to constantly have to grow at? What is one thing related to your business that you're constantly going to have to do continuous learning and growing at?
Adapt to like the different environments, because there might be like different people
Mhm.
at certain times. So like every single time like somebody new comes into your job, like you might have to get used to like how the person is, and like you have to like keep repeatedly like learning new things from each different person that comes into your off like your office or your business.
And you will. You're very true. And that comes with what comes with something, the tool you use with you guys, that is learning your customer. You might have the different behavior style and learning their language and speak their language, because we can be communicating. I might be somebody who likes straight, direct, assertive, and someone may not like that directness. They may need it a little easier said to them, or they need to hear more feelings words about it for that. So yes, that is a constant adaptation for that and learning it. You get better as you speak to more in that. And you'll find out who you like to deal with more, and you work well with, because there are some opposites with the behavior styles, and some will bump heads and some are easier to work with too. So anyone else?
I would
Follow
say,
trends.
oh, you can go first.
Oh, it's okay. Um, okay, so I'd say follow trends, because as we see every single day, people can see some different things, and you have to came up with ideas, unless you in like a constant business or something like that.
Mhm. You do, because trends change. The trends change, and you to stay, especially an example is in fashion. Fashion changes all the time, but then you have I would say the outliers out of box, something new comes out. So yes, you do have to adapt a lot of times to different trends and what people are doing. For instance, now with using more credit cards versus cash. More people prefer now for you to use your credit card than actually having cash. So very true, Nadia. Go ahead, Janelle.
Like what Nadia was saying, you have to keep up with the trends, because I know like for my business, since it's specializing in textured hair care,
Mhm.
if I was around like the 2000s, like it was popular to get box braids, but now like bohemian style braids are more um trendy. So like just keeping up with different types of trends and learning different hairstyles, because your clients might want different things.
Very true. And some of them don't even know. They come to you. Hey, you tell me what's good right now, or what is popular. How can I? A lot of times, like, how can I fit in? Or very true, very true. Anyone else? And if you guys put something in the chat, I can't see that at the moment. 1 second. My computer froze for a moment, so I apologize with you guys.
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
I'm just saying, what do you have to, in your business, what you're thinking of doing, what is something that you constantly have to learn and adapt to that you're going to have to do?
I would say for mine, like I said, trend, just because it's going to be kind of a feedback business for different like companies and like small organizations. But I definitely say like keeping up with the coding, because coding is gonna be a big part of it as we implement new like services and things of that nature. We're gonna want to make sure that we're not interfering with the logistics of our framework and our like website.
Very much so. And that is ever changing. The technology aspect of it is constantly changing. Something is so-called new coming out in December. They already have something that's in the works for next spring already. So technology very much so on that platform. Very, very much in between. Let me share my screen and let me know if you see it. So in overall, unlocking your entrepreneur mindset for that, it's just remember it is your powerful tool that you have achieving the success, and then what your vision of success is, because everyone's thought of success is not the same. Everyone's level of successes is not the same. One person, when speaking the behavior style, it might be their results that they have. I made my, I would say our KPIs, our key indicators. I made my goal. I made my revenue that I want for the month versus someone in some other behavior styles who's like more people oriented. I connected, I networked with more people. I made a point to connect with people instead of focusing a lot on the tasking of people before that. So I embrace and unlock, I can say, what your potential is that you have inside you, and trust it. A lot of times we don't trust our intuition because of fear comes in. But I would say just keep focused on what you want to do. And the biggest other thing too is involve the people around you. Have someone that can push you when you need it, and accept it. Because sometimes someone's passion can come so strong. Because they want to see you succeed. They see the confidence that you're not exuding it, and they're trying to push it out of you. So just have that open mind aspect of it to unlock. So what I'm going to do with you guys, next is I'm going to get the I'm going to